Darkness, and then a blinding light. The stone shell broke away and I fell to my knees, only to be caught by strong arms. Darkness again, and the cradled sensation of being carried. I only have vague recollections after that, the cool touch of someone wiping my brow, a soothing whisper at the height of my fever, and a comforting sense of awe as the Great Spirit itself watched over me. That was how I first came to the shrine, my home. Welcome back to the Eternal Ruins. In this entry, I will speak of those wanderers who awoke within or near the shrine of a Great Spirit, who they are, how they awoke, and their general nature. In an effort to categorize the denizens of this place, I will call them shrine broken, though it is a term recognized by none but myself. While most wanderers awaken in solitude, left to fend for themselves in a strange place, the shrine broken are those whose first memories comprise of being held inside the warmth of a Great Spirit shrine. Often, these are wanderers whose sleeping statue happened to be in the vicinity of a shrine. A patrolling spirit warden, coming upon the newly awakened in their weak and disorientated state, would typically carry them back into the safety of the shrine. Once inside, the shrine broken are granted a comfort that other wanderers might never know. It takes several bells for their initial fever to dissipate and their senses to return. During this time, they are gently tended to by the wardens. They are provided with food and water as their bodies recover from the shock of awakening, spared the struggle for sustenance that most newly awakened face. The Great Spirits themselves, mystical ancient beings, may even personally oversee their recovery. As the bells pass, these wanderers recall how to speak, how to use their hands, and how to walk. The spirit wardens guide them through it all, imparting the wisdom of their Great Spirit upon them. A shrine broken will often choose to become a spirit warden to the Great Spirit who took them in, but the two roles are not the same. The shrine broken are sometimes allowed to live within the shrine indefinitely, an honor rarely bestowed upon a wanderer without wardenship. Some accept this offer, diligently performing chores and serving from within the walls, never knowing of the vast world beyond. Others, however, will decline the invitation for sanctuary. They set out into the ruins with a heavy pack of supplies and a hopeful heart. In my experience, such wanderers seem remarkably untouched by despair, and are deeply knowledgeable regarding the needs of spirits. Unfortunately, they can also be painfully naive about the true ways of the ruins and the many threats that they might encounter. In the Eternal Ruins role-playing game, the Shrine Broken is an origin players can choose when creating their wanderer. It will be available in the full version of the game for backers later this year. Mechanically, the Shrine Broken is quite squishy, with a heavy focus on the spiritual. One of the aspects available to them is Patron Spirit. You take your oath to the Great Spirit who nurtured you seriously, and they are fond of you as well, in their own way. This aspect allows the player to choose which Great Spirit took care of them, making that spirit friendlier towards the group during an encounter with them. They also treat disasters as conflicts when furthering that spirit's agendas, helping them to achieve that spirit's goals beyond their shrine. Another interesting aspect they can take is true faith. Your belief in the Great Spirits is so unshakable, it shields even your companions. This allows a wanderer or their companions to ignore filling their curse gauge, staving off despair with their belief in the Great Spirits. I always imagined that this is a point of contention among the wanderers. While some strongly believe that the Great Spirits will protect them, others resent the idea, choosing to forge their own path. These skeptics might view the believers as misled or even dangerous zealots. While most Shrine Broken naturally fall into the camp of the faithful, there is plenty of room for those who became disillusioned and chose to leave the shrine behind. From a design perspective, the Shrine Broken has had perhaps the smoothest process of all the characters I'm currently drawing. I had a clear vision of what I wanted them to look like, and it hasn't deviated from that first sketch. My initial thought was that she should look like the healthiest and cleanest of all the wanderers, reflecting a life of safety and comfort. In the game, the Shrine Broken has petal cakes listed under their oddments, the starting items they carry. This detail really captured my imagination. I could easily picture these cakes being baked inside a shrine, perhaps even as part of worship. I ended up basing the character's entire visual language around this petal shape, using it as a recurring pattern on her robes. For the pose, I wanted her to look optimistic yet unprepared, clutching her staff tightly to her chest. The staff was trickier than I anticipated, particularly getting the hands to line up naturally. Covering the front of the body can also create tangents, where lines and shapes intersect in a way that looks strange or unsatisfying. In the end, I'm really happy with the result. I think it successfully captures that wholesome, sheltered expression I was aiming for. And that's all for this episode on Shrine Broken Wanderers. Shrine Broken feels like the perfect origin for players who want to play a naive wanderer stepping out into the ruins for the first time. Will you be choosing this origin? Let me know in the comments. You can also join our community on Discord if you want to discuss the Eternal Ruins with fellow fans. You can find playtest sessions to join if you want to try out the role-playing game, or even run a session yourself. There's a lot of people who want to play. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.